I would say I got two guys, man, in terms of biggest offseason additions. I love the Pat Peterson pickup. I think we needed a proven big-time guy in that back end, not just because we were losing Cam Sutton, but because we needed that feel. You know, we needed that Joe Hayden type, that Ike Taylor type, that when we walk out, it's like, nah, we feel really good about ours, so you better have something crazy over there. And with Pat P, we got that. With Pat P now, instead of Levi Wallace having to prove he can be a number one corner, he gets to just be a high end too. Now, instead of JPJ feeling forced to be the number one corner day one, he gets to get eased into this thing. Why is that important? We remember Artie Burns. We remember how that worked out. Yeah, he had a decent first year, but that second year, it kind of cost him. It went the other direction. And that's because, to me, man, when you start putting guys out there too soon, it can hurt him more than it can help him. You know, for him, he has to learn from that. But hopefully we as an organization have learned from that as well.
Probably even just to have someone to keep you in check.
Seriously, man.
To have Peterson here for 2 years. Like if Porter does really good this year, you don't want to get like over your head or anything.
Seriously, man.
But you got a Peterson who's been here and knows what it takes to be a Hall of Famer.
And doing it every single year. And that's one of the things, like I said, man, that to me, I loved that signing. But then on the flip side, I love the Broderick Jones pickup, man. Yes, I could talk Isaac Seumalo because he's proven. Yes, I could talk Nate Herbig because he's another proven guy, and how it pushes down and makes the depth of our interior offensive line that much better. But to me, man, we have one of the top 3 tackles that we had scouted, right? That we were talking about even on this show. Forget what everybody else was talking about. What we talked about. And it's like, man, I just think what he brings, whether you're talking the competition for Dan Moore, the depth to that room, but ultimately the high-end ceiling that this guy has in contrast to Dan Moore, to me, he's a winner. He's coming off of natty championships at Georgia, where it was a big-time program. He's handled adversity, losing a teammate, and you hear how he's been able to use that as motivation. I also like the fact that you see him when you look on his social media. He's doing stuff in the community, doing good stuff as a young guy. So it's like, man, to me, I just think that you potentially have your guy for the next 10 years. You know, if he can produce and grow into what he's supposed to be, on paper, all that looks good. Obviously, we got to see what it looks like. But I really like that, you know, we're able to get a piece that's going to be able to be here with this franchise quarterback that we just drafted, or at least the hopes of this franchise quarterback that we drafted. At least now we got our quarterback, we have our receiver in Pickens, we got our running back in Naj, and now we got that left tackle in Broderick. It's just like across the board, and that doesn't even count Muth or even the potential of a Darnell Washington. But when you're talking about the cornerstone pieces of your team, the cornerstone pieces of your offense and defense, to me, we finally have those things at the same time. And that's something that we've kind of missed out on these past couple of years in transition.
Yeah, I agree with you, even though my draft day reaction would say otherwise. I really like the Broderick pickup. And then, I mean, you could argue about the JPJ draft pick even, but I think you're right. Having Peterson here to set the tone, to bring that veteran presence is going to be awesome. And because after last year ended, or just all of last year, really. I mean, we had a young team. And then as last year ended, it's like, okay, this team's going to develop. This team's going to get better going into 2023. But it's nice to have some extra veteran presence around there, too, to help guide us. And, like, we brought in a ton of dudes that have gone deep in the playoffs for various teams. Then you have a guy like Peterson, who's a Hall of Famer, who's done it at a high level for very long. I mean, even last year, you brought it up.
Bro.
Like, if you go just based off strictly stats alone, he was arguably a top 10 corner.
15 PBUs, 5 interceptions. We talked about if he did that here, he would have been our number one guy.
So I like that. Yeah, I like bringing in Peterson. And it came after us losing Cam Sutton. So we needed to bring in someone to replace him, especially heading into that draft where you never know. Like, it played out perfectly for us because we got JPJ in the second round. But you don't know if those top 3 corners are going to go in the top 10, and you might miss out on one of those guys.
Yeah.
So to have that insurance, to have a guy it's only going to help the whole defense. It helps the secondary. He'll be just a multiplier in terms of his presence and leadership.
Yeah.
But I think he's going to play good too.
I do too. But you need that, though, bro.
We're going to be able to move him all over the field, he's saying.
Seriously,
Like, I want to showcase my versatility here.
Yeah. But like I said, man, being a guy that has shared the locker room with Pat P. And actually, I did want to let y'all know, man, I put a little Q&A up in the chat section to drop who you guys think has been the biggest Steelers addition this offseason. All right, so make sure y'all tap in with that. But going back to the JPJ vibe, man, being a guy that has actually had a chance to share the locker room with them out in Arizona, like I said, man, you watch how guys gravitate to him. You watch how younger players and even those middle-class veterans, a guy like Levi Wallace, right? He's a middle-class guy. He's not a $100 million corner. He's not on a vet or a rookie minimum or a vet minimum. That's the middle class. But you watch how those type of guys gravitate to a Pat P. Being in that locker room with him in AZ and seeing that type of stuff, man, it was dope. It made the guys around him want to play better. It made them want to watch tape more. It made them want to do extra work. It made them just elevate their play. And that's something that we have been missing a little bit. Granted, we had talented players here, and Cam Sutton is a dope leader, but Cam Sutton isn't going to be able to do and have the same type of effect that a Pat P has when Pat P walk in that room. Cam Sutton walk in that room, it's like, it was dope. Cam a vibe. Cam love Cam. Everybody know Cam, that's my partner. Good dude. But it's like when Pat P walk in, it's like, oh, you know what I mean? Like it just hit a little bit different. You watch him a little bit closer. When he says something, you're like, okay, this got to be important. If he's doing it out there, I'm definitely going to do it. And that's the other part that I think, is really going to pay dividends as well, man. Just piggybacking on what you were saying.
Yeah, for sure. Now, I'm reading the chat coming off of your question here.
Mm-hmm.
Pittsburgh Steel Lit says Allen Robinson.
Shout
in
out
the slot
to Allen Robinson. I like that. I mean, that's a dope pickup as well. Obviously, we know Proven has had success in the league. We know this last year, like I said, with the Rams, it was a little bit of a weird scenario with some of the injuries and the quarterback situation, but the talent is there. We even did a little film session on him to kind of highlight what he still has available to him and what he still is going to bring to this offense potentially. But that's another guy that has led this league before in receiving yards. Like, we don't just talk about that lightly. We know the players that have been in this league. We know the receivers that play in this league. So whenever you're talking about being at the top of any statistical category for a season, that is, some high-end talent right there. So, yeah, I definitely like that.
I'm sorry, this team's loaded.
It is. That's
I'm
what
sorry.
I'm saying.
This team's loaded. Yeah. I was talking to my buddy at the bar yesterday, too, just talking about Steelers, talking about football.
Mm-hmm.
Allen Robinson as our third receiver.
Think about it.
The draft that we just had, the line that we just built, this defense.
Mm-hmm. Allen Robinson was the number one receiver 2 years ago. Allen Robinson was trying to be the number one receiver last year. Granted, we know they had Triple Crown over there in terms of oh my God, I'm drawing a blank. Cooper Kupp, but he was brought out there to be a guy, and it's like we're looking over here like,
now
man,
Beckham got hurt, but like he was supposed to be Beckham's replacement.
Yeah, he was supposed to be a part of that. Absolutely. So it was like, you bring him here, and we don't even look at him or expect that. We're just like, come here and try to be our third guy, compete with Calvin Austin, show us who's better between y'all two. Like, that is a dope. Like, we are very talented, man. Our biggest question is just the youth development. Matt Canada. That's the combo, man. Can the youth,
Canada better listen to Batch and give Kenny the range.
And
let him make some audibles.
And Kenny better develop, right? It goes hand in hand. They both got to trust each other. They both got to work together. They both got to reward each other's trust. Because if Matt Canada is giving Kenny all this leeway, but Kenny is out here making bad decisions, then now that's hurting us more than it's helping us. But the flip side is if Matt isn't allowing Kenny that freedom and is handicapping
we'll need
us,
a midseason check-in from Batch.
Yeah. Oh, no, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
See what he's seeing out there.
Like, see, Batch, talk to me, man. What you got? All right? You could talk this. I can't talk it like how you talk it. I like when you talk it. All right? Shout out to C Batch, too, man. All right.
Now Steeler Mutt says mine is Mount Washington.
Oh, y'all know he was one of my favorites in the draft. Love what he brings to this offense,
A lot of people are saying Washington. John Easton says Washington, too.
Serious? Okay. Now, Rod Dollar, he says Keanu Neal. I like the Keanu Neal pickup, especially on the hills of
Goes back to
Edmonds.
What I just said. Our team's loaded. Oh, yeah. I forgot we picked up Keanu Neal.
Oh, we did get this guy, huh? Oh, yeah. Yeah, just Keanu Neal, just hanging around here somewhere. Yeah, I like that, Rod. I could definitely see Keanu, man.
Hopefully we get Quan, too.